Whenever Lena hinted at buying something small for the house, a bouquet of flowers, a new curtain, or even a beautiful dress, Cairo would dismiss the idea immediately. Why waste money on things we don't need? In a remote riverside village where ancient legends and mysteries still echoed through every little home, lived a young woman named Lena. Lena's beauty was captivating, drawing every eye to her. With her long jet-black hair, deep eyes that seemed to speak, and a gentle smile like the morning dew, she was like a princess from a fairy tale, a vision of delicate grace and wonder. Villagers whispered among themselves that Lena wasn't just beautiful, she carried a special destiny. Many believed that she was meant to marry a wealthy, powerful man who would lift her family from poverty and change their fate forever. Her mother, Imani, believed this destiny more than anyone else. Every day, Imani would softly whisper into her daughter's ear, "My child, one day you'll marry a great man, someone who will give us all the life we've dreamed of." Imani's voice was filled with pride as she carefully combed Lena's hair, her eyes shining with hope. These words gradually etched themselves into Lena's heart, making her believe that her life had only one true purpose: to marry a wealthy man and fulfill her mother's vision of a perfect life. But Lena wasn't an only child. She had an older brother named Jonah and a younger sister named Nala. Yet every bit of attention, love, and especially their mother's ambitions all seemed to center around Lena, as if she were the chosen one. Jonah and Nala, though bound by blood, often felt overshadowed by the light that their beautiful sister seemed to radiate. Jonah was the one tasked with shouldering the family's burden, while Nala took on heavy chores around the house. They were taught to serve Queen Lena and to set aside their own wants, so that she would always be cared for and prepared for her destiny. Imani often reminded them, "One day your sister will bring us the life we've always longed for." But in their hearts, Jonah and Nala felt a quiet sadness. They loved Lena deeply, yet also felt the sting of neglect from their mother, wondering, is our life only a part of Lena's dream? Lena knew her siblings were sacrificing for her, but she was equally burdened by her mother's expectations. She dared not defy Imani, nor could she imagine any other future than marrying a rich man. Sometimes when she saw Jonah and Nala exhausted from endless work, her heart ached, yet fear crept in that she might fail to fulfill the vision her mother had crafted so carefully. Then, on an afternoon like no other, news spread through the village. A wealthy and powerful merchant had arrived to do business with the village chief. His name was Cairo, a man famous across the region for his vast wealth and influence. Upon hearing his name, Imani's heart raced with excitement. She was certain this was the man she had waited for all these years, the one she had dreamed of for her daughter. "Lena?" Imani whispered, her voice tinged with anticipation and a hint of mystery. "Your chance has finally come. This is the man we've been waiting for." Could it be that Cairo was truly the answer to Imani's dreams? Or would he lead Lena's life down an unexpected and perhaps dangerous path? Lena grew up surrounded by expectations, as though she were a princess trapped in a castle built of dreams and burdens. Every word, every glance from her mother, Imani, reminded Lena that she was more than just a daughter. She was her mother's hope, her dream of escaping a life of poverty. Imani's gaze held onto Lena like a precious gem, handling her with a love that was heavy with expectation. But not everyone in the family received the same attention as Lena. Jonah, her older brother, and Nala, her younger sister, seemed to exist only as shadows beside their beautiful sister. Jonah took on the responsibilities of providing for the family, while Nala handled the heavy work around the home. They both understood that their duty was to serve Queen Lena, to make sure that nothing would disrupt the dreams that Imani had pinned upon her. "One day," Imani would tell Jonah and Nala, "your sister will bring us the life we've always deserved." And though Jonah and Nala loved Lena deeply, there was a quiet pain in their hearts, a sense of being forgotten, left to watch from the sidelines. They often wondered, is our own life only a small part of the life that's been imagined for Lena? Lena, too, felt the weight of her mother's dreams pressing down upon her. She understood that her siblings were sacrificing for her, and yet she felt bound by her mother's expectations, unable to envision any future but the one that had been laid out for her. She dared not defy Imani's vision, nor could she imagine a life different from the grand marriage that had been promised in her mother's words. And sometimes, when she saw Jonah and Nala, weary from endless work, a pang of guilt struck her heart, mingling with the fear that, somehow, she might fail to fulfill her mother's dreams. Then, one afternoon, a rumor swept through the village. A wealthy, powerful merchant had arrived, hoping to meet the village chief. His name was Cairo, a man whose wealth and influence were renowned across the region. As soon as Imani heard his name, a thrill of excitement filled her heart. This, she believed, was fate itself, a gift from the heavens, the man she had dreamed of for Lena all these years. "Lena," Imani said, her voice soft but filled with an intense anticipation. "Your chance has come. This man, he is the one we've been waiting for." Could this stranger, Cairo, really be the answer to Imani's dreams, or would he bring a storm of change that none of them could foresee? That afternoon, an unusual excitement filled the village. Everywhere, people whispered about a special visitor, a powerful man from a distant land. His name was Cairo, a merchant famous for his vast wealth and undeniable influence. They said that as soon as he set foot in the village, he left everyone in awe, arriving with a grand entourage, elegant horse-drawn carriages, and ceremonial music that echoed down the streets. Imani could barely contain her excitement. This, she thought, could be the destiny she had waited for all these years. She quickly arranged for Lena to make an appearance at the welcome ceremony organised by the village chief. Standing among the curious villagers, Imani leaned over to Lena and whispered, "My daughter, tonight you must be unforgettable. We'll make sure Cairo can't take his eyes off you." Draped in a traditional dress adorned with intricate patterns, Lena stepped into the crowd with a graceful, quiet beauty. Her long black hair shone like silk, and her presence commanded attention. As Cairo's eyes fell on her, he was captivated, unable to look away. He stood still, gazing at her as if he'd discovered something truly rare, a beauty unlike any he'd seen before. In that moment, Imani knew her years of waiting had been worth it. Cairo's gaze was firmly locked on Lena. Noticing Cairo's interest, the village chief smiled and said, "Cairo, you have set eyes on the pride of our village. Lena is a rare gem, our joy and our pride." These words served as the perfect introduction, and Cairo smiled back, his gaze lingering on Lena. After the ceremony, Imani wasted no time and approached Cairo with a subtle invitation. "If you would allow it, sir," she began, her tone respectful but firm, "we would be honoured to have you as our guest for a simple family dinner. I'm certain you'll find warmth and hospitality in our home." Her invitation was both clever and direct, and Cairo agreed, as though he too were intrigued by the mysterious beauty before him. When Cairo entered their home, he was greeted not only by a beautiful young woman, but also by her ambitious mother, a woman who seemed determined to ensure her daughter's future. During the meal, Imani skillfully portrayed Lena as a treasure, someone who deserved to be cherished and loved. Cairo simply smiled, his gaze still lingering on Lena, as if silently acknowledging her beauty. Cairo mentioned he would return in a week, this time with a formal proposal. Imani's heart swelled with pride and excitement, but as for Lena, she wondered silently if she was truly ready to commit her life to a man she barely knew, a man who held the promise of wealth and status, yet also carried an air of mystery and secrecy. Was this really the right choice for Imani? Or would Lena uncover secrets that lay hidden behind Cairo's powerful presence? Time passed quickly, and within a few short weeks the village prepared for a grand wedding between Lena and Cairo, the man who seemed like a gift from destiny itself. Early in the morning, drums sounded joyously, traditional dances coloured the streets, and melodies from folk songs echoed everywhere. This was bound to be the most memorable day of Lena's life. Lena was dressed in an exquisite wedding gown, adorned with intricate patterns and sparkling jewels. Her long black hair, threaded with pearls that caught the light, made her look like a princess straight out of a storybook. As she walked, villagers gasped, enchanted by her beauty. They were all curious to see how Cairo, this wealthy and powerful man, would react when he saw his bride for the first time. When Cairo arrived, a hush fell over the crowd. Unlike the splendidly dressed Lena, Cairo appeared in a surprisingly simple outfit, almost plain. Some people murmured to each other, "A man as rich as he is, why wouldn't he dress up for his own wedding?" But Lena reassured herself, thinking, perhaps wealthy people don't need to show off. She tried to believe this was just part of his character, something unique to him. The ceremony began with traditional rituals. Lena poured a ceremonial cup of wine and handed it to Cairo, their eyes meeting for a brief, intense moment that made her heart race. She could feel a gentle warmth in his gaze, as though he was silently promising that she was truly the woman he wanted by his side. The guests cheered and clapped, and a feeling of happiness filled Lena's heart. Maybe I really have found true happiness, she thought to herself. After the wedding ended, a procession escorted Lena to Cairo's home. But when the door opened, she was stunned. The house was nothing like what she'd imagined. Though large, it was starkly simple, without any fine decorations or luxurious furnishings. Everything seemed almost bare. Her first feeling was one of disappointment, but Lena quickly tried to mask it. Maybe I just need some time to get used to it, she whispered to herself. Yet, as she entered their private room, her heart sank further. The room was so empty that it was unsettling. Only a bed and a few essential items filled the space. Turning to Cairo, Lena wanted to ask him about the room, but he simply smiled, as if he knew exactly what she was thinking. "I believe simplicity is what matters most in life, Lena," he said calmly. "We don't need unnecessary luxuries to find happiness." Was this the life Lena had truly dreamed of, or would her marriage turn into a long, challenging journey? She began to feel there was something hidden behind Cairo's extreme simplicity, but was she ready to confront it? The wedding night passed, and the next day began in the unfamiliar house Lena was now supposed to call home. She woke up early, wandering through the large, empty rooms, trying to take in the place that would now be her world. But with each step, she only found more bare spaces, more rooms without decoration or warmth. The vastness of the house, combined with its stark simplicity, left her feeling hollow. When Lena finally saw Cairo, she tried her best to hide the growing disappointment in her heart. "Our home. It's a bit different from what I imagined," Lena ventured, hoping he might offer some comforting explanation. Cairo simply smiled and replied in his usual calm voice. "Simplicity is the essence of life, Lena. We don't need unnecessary things to be happy." His words left Lena shocked and bewildered. From a young age, she'd been taught by her mother that a perfect life was filled with beauty, luxury, and abundance. Now she found herself living with a man who seemed to reject everything she'd ever dreamed of. Cairo was not only simple in his living style, but excessively frugal. He owned only a few sets of plain clothes, never indulged in lavish meals, and constantly spoke of saving. For Lena, each passing day made it painfully clear that this marriage was nothing like the life she had envisioned. Whenever Lena hinted at buying something small for the house, a bouquet of flowers, a new curtain, or even a beautiful dress, Cairo would dismiss the idea immediately. "Why waste money on things we don't need?" he would ask, as if each coin was too precious to part with. As time went on, Lena felt like a bird trapped in a golden cage. Though Cairo possessed wealth beyond imagination, he refused to use it for anything that might make life a little more joyful. She began to feel stifled, isolated in a home that was large yet devoid of comfort. The joy from her wedding day had faded, replaced by an unsettling mix of frustration and confusion. In the quiet of the night, with the entire house shrouded in darkness, Lena began to question herself. Is this truly the life I'm bound to, forever? A life surrounded by riches, yet with no access to any of it? Gradually, Lena began to sense there might be a reason behind Cairo's extreme frugality. Was it a haunting memory from his past, or a secret he was still keeping from her? Each day with him felt like a silent battle, one she wasn't sure she knew how to win. Maya's words lingered in Lena's mind. Perhaps he lives this way because of things that happened in the past. These words echoed in her thoughts, a warning but also a spark of hope, pushing Lena to seek out the truth behind the strange, guarded life her husband led. Lena began spending more time with Maya, a wise, older woman with deep, knowing eyes, someone who had been in Cairo's household for many years and understood every corner of this cold, empty mansion. In the soft glow of evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Lena and Maya would sit together in the kitchen talking quietly. Each time Lena mentioned Cairo's relentless frugality, Maya would lower her eyes as though she was carefully weighing her words. Finally, one stormy night, with the wind howling and shadows casting eerie shapes on the walls, Maya looked directly at Lena and sighed deeply. You see, child, Cairo hasn't seen his mother since he was very young. He grew up in a life of hardship, in a world filled with loneliness. His mother, she was a poor woman, forced to leave him because life was just too difficult. Lena listened intently, a mixture of surprise and sorrow swelling in her heart. But why would that make him live so harshly with himself? She asked, her voice breaking slightly. Maya continued, her voice low and full of emotion, as though each word carried a heavy memory. Cairo grew up with nothing, child, and he learned to fear losing whatever little he had. When his mother fell ill, his family didn't have enough money to treat her. Her death left a scar in him, a deep wound. From that moment, he vowed never to waste a single coin, to always save, believing money was the only way to protect those he loved. Lena was stunned, realizing that beneath Cairo's stoic exterior lay a man scarred by a painful past, haunted by memories of loss and helplessness. But in that moment, she also felt something else, a desire to comfort him, to be the one to help him heal. From that day on, Lena saw Cairo in a different light. She began to understand the hidden pain behind his cautious ways, the unspoken fear that gripped him. But could she be the one to help him release the ghosts of his past? Could love truly break through the walls he had built? Lena knew what she had to do. She resolved to take things one step at a time, slowly, carefully, with patience and love. Yet deep down, she wondered, could she help him without losing herself in the process? Maya's words lingered in Lena's mind, echoing over and over. Perhaps he lives this way because of things that happened in the past. Those words were both a warning and a small glimmer of light, strengthening Lena's resolve to uncover the secret Cairo was hiding. Lena began spending more time with Maya, an experienced woman with deep, knowing eyes who seemed to understand every corner of the large, yet cold and empty house. On quiet evenings, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the mountains, Lena and Maya would sit together speaking softly in the kitchen. Each time Lena brought up Cairo's severe frugality, Maya would lower her head, hesitating, as though weighing her words. Finally, on a night when the wind howled and the house lay blanketed in darkness, Maya looked directly into Lena's eyes and sighed. You know, Cairo hasn't seen his mother since he was very young, she began. He grew up in a world of hardship and loneliness. His mother was a poor woman who had to leave him because her circumstances were simply too difficult. Lena listened intently, feeling a mix of surprise and sadness rising within her. But why would he be so harsh with himself? She asked, her voice tight with emotion. Maya continued, her voice low and filled with sadness, as though each word held a piece of her own painful memories. Cairo didn't just grow up in poverty. He grew up with the constant fear of loss. When his mother fell ill, his family couldn't afford the treatment she needed. Her death left a deep scar on Cairo's heart. Since then, he promised himself he would never waste anything, always saving, always preparing for any situation. For Cairo, money became the only way to protect the people he loved. Lena was stunned. She had never realized that behind his cold, guarded exterior was a man carrying the weight of painful memories, haunted by a past where he had lost what was most precious to him. But as she listened, she felt another emotion rise within her, a desire to comfort him, to share his burden and ease his pain. From that day forward, Lena looked at Cairo differently. She saw the hidden wounds he never showed, understanding that his strict ways weren't rooted in selfishness, but in a fear too deep to be expressed. But could she help him overcome that fear? Could love really change someone whose heart was so deeply bound by the chains of his past? Lena knew what she had to do. She resolved to ease the pain in Cairo's heart, step by step, to help him find his way out of the darkness. But as she took this journey, she couldn't help but wonder, could she accomplish this without losing herself in the process? After understanding Cairo's painful past, Lena decided to try a new approach. She began to realize that to open the door to his heart, she would need patience, small steps, and a gentle touch. But could she do this without losing herself? One evening, Lena spent hours carefully making a necklace by hand, using natural pearls she had found in the storage room. It was a simple yet beautiful piece, threaded with glistening pearls that caught the light. She quietly approached Cairo, placing the necklace in his hand and whispering, "I made this for you, not for its value, but because I want to show you how much I appreciate you, Cairo." Cairo remained silent, staring at the necklace with a look of surprise, mixed with a hint of confusion. This might have been the first time he had received a gift that didn't relate to money. He lifted the necklace, watching it sparkle under the light, then slowly placed it around his neck. "Thank you, Lena," he said, his voice soft but sincere. Lena saw something soften in his eyes, as though a part of the wall surrounding his heart had started to crack. From that day on, Cairo began to see life in a slightly different light. Lena continued introducing small changes into their home. A fresh bouquet on the dining table, a new curtain brightening the living room, and even more colourful meals. At first, Cairo looked on with surprise and a touch of doubt, but gradually he began to accept these changes as though they were becoming a natural part of the new life Lena was bringing. One day, after returning home from work, Cairo surprised Lena by inviting her to sit with him beneath the large tree in the backyard, a place he usually avoided, a spot he rarely shared with anyone. In the fading light of sunset, Cairo began to open up, telling Lena about his childhood, the hardships he had endured, his fears, and the countless times he felt helpless in trying to protect those he loved. "I used to believe that if I had enough money, I could change everything," Cairo said, his voice thick with emotion. "But maybe I was wrong to live that way all these years." Lena quietly took Cairo's hand, sensing the vulnerability and confusion hidden behind his once strong exterior. "I don't want you to change completely, Cairo. I just want us to live a peaceful life, a life where you don't have to be afraid of losing what we have," she said, her gaze sincere as she looked deeply into his eyes. That conversation wasn't just the first time Cairo had opened up. It was the beginning of a new journey, a journey filled with challenges but also with hope. But was Lena's love strong enough to change Cairo completely? And could Cairo finally leave behind the shadows of his past to embrace true happiness? After their conversation under the tree, in the gentle glow of sunset, Cairo seemed to begin changing. But Lena knew that one evening, or a few tender words, would not be enough to erase the scars deeply embedded in him. She understood this would be a long journey, and that every small step she took would need to be filled with patience and love. In the days that followed, Lena focused more on bringing warmth to their small home, filling it with touches of comfort. She carefully made changes, ensuring that nothing felt too sudden for Cairo. Each time she introduced something new, she gently explained it to him, helping him gradually accept these changes. Slowly, Cairo began participating in her efforts, sometimes even bringing home wildflowers or small items, things he would have never noticed before. But then an unexpected challenge arrived. One day, As Lena returned from the market with new decorations for the kitchen, she noticed Cairo standing by the door, his face tense, his eyes filled with worry. He had just received news that his uncle, his last remaining relative, was gravely ill in a distant village. Though he had tried for years to leave his painful past behind, this news hit Cairo like a shock, rekindling old fears. "Lena, I have to leave right away," Cairo said, his voice low yet full of determination. "I don't know what I'll do, but I can't abandon the only family I have left." Lena took his hand, her gaze filled with concern yet gentle. "I'll go with you, Cairo. I'll stay by your side no matter what happens." When they arrived, Cairo's uncle was too weak to speak. Cairo sat by his bedside, gripping his uncle's hand tightly, his eyes filled with pain as he watched life slowly slip away. In that moment, Lena understood that every sorrow Cairo had ever carried stemmed from loss like this, the helplessness of not being able to hold on to those he loved. But instead of remaining silent, Lena gently took Cairo's hand and whispered, "Sometimes, no matter how much money we have, we can't hold on to what's most precious. The only thing we can do is cherish each moment we have together and accept the things we can't change." Lena's words were like a gentle light in the darkness. Could Cairo find a way to let go of this deep-seated fear? And was Lena's love strong enough to guide him out of the shadows of his past? After his uncle passed away, Cairo returned home with eyes heavy with sorrow. Yet deep within, it seemed that something in him had changed. The experience of loss had softened a part of his wounded soul. Lena's comforting words and unwavering patience had planted a small seed of hope within Cairo, helping him gradually release the fears he had held onto for so long. Back at home, Cairo began to open up more. He no longer stopped Lena from buying small items for the house, and even began suggesting they decorate the kitchen together. Lena was surprised to see him happily adding a few small decorations, things he once considered wasteful. These were small but meaningful signs, showing the gradual transformation taking place within Cairo. One day, as they prepared a small dinner together at home, Cairo suddenly took Lena's hand. His eyes held a sincerity she had never seen before. "I've come to realize that money can't change the past or fix everything. The most precious thing is the person by my side right here and now," he said, his voice warm and deep. Lena knew in that moment that he had truly opened his heart. As time passed, Lena and Cairo continued building a new life together, one step at a time, with patience and love. Lena continued her craft, making beautiful jewelry by hand, while Cairo began devoting more time to rebuilding relationships, something he once avoided out of fear of failure. He realized that life wasn't just about accumulating wealth, but about sharing and embracing love. With each passing day, their house was no longer an empty, cold place. Now it was a home, a place where laughter echoed and little moments of happiness filled every corner. They had learned to love and cherish one another, moving beyond the painful past to embrace a true happiness. In the end, their story was not only a tale of love, but a journey of overcoming fears and finding peace within. And the greatest lesson they learned was, happiness isn't about what you have, it's about who you have beside you. As time passed, Lena and Cairo continued building a new life together. Their home was no longer a cold, empty space. Instead, it was now filled with laughter and warmth. It had been a long, challenging journey, but in the end, they had found happiness in every moment spent with one another. The days with Lena helped Cairo realize that money wasn't the only path to peace. Sometimes, having someone by your side, sharing life's ups and downs, was enough. Lena continued her work crafting handmade jewelry. The bracelets and necklaces she made weren't just a way to earn a living. They were symbols of patience, resilience, and the beauty of appreciating life's small treasures. Cairo, too, had changed. He no longer focused solely on saving and accumulating. Instead, he spent more time enjoying the simple moments with Lena, moments he had once overlooked. One afternoon, they sat together beneath the large tree behind their home, the same tree where they had shared their first conversation about Cairo's past. The wind blew softly, and the rustling leaves sounded like whispers of time. Cairo looked into Lena's eyes, his gaze filled with gratitude and appreciation for the woman who had shown him the true meaning of happiness. "Thank you, Lena," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for your patience and for never giving up on me." Lena smiled, gently taking his hand, and replied, "Life may not be perfect, but with you beside me, it feels complete." Their story became a testament that true happiness doesn't lie in wealth or fame. It lies in love, appreciation, and trust. Sometimes having someone by your side, ready to face life's challenges together, is the truest definition of happiness. And if you love this story and want to hear more meaningful, heartfelt tales from distant lands, be sure to hit follow on African Tales Best. We'll bring you the most captivating African folk tales, filled with deep lessons about love, life, and timeless values. Join us as we explore myths, magical stories, and share your thoughts with us in the comments. Don't forget to follow so you never miss another story.